Now this is ghetto, all right? Just pretend this is going to work. Hey, thanks for coming back to Freedom One Garage. Consider liking, subscribing if you're into this kind of stuff. We are back on the Bronco. Okay, it's day 3 of parts sourcing. I screwed up. I went in and reviewed all of my ordering and whatever else from the oops, sorry about that, from the Rock Hard auto parts place, and I forgot to order the brake hose for the rear axle. And then digging a little deeper, there's also a center one in the front of the Bronco. You have a center hose that drops down to the center, well, the carrier, and then you have hard line to each side, and then you have rubber hoses from the hard line to the caliper because the front tires twist. Okay, and yeah, I didn't get the front center hose ordered either. So we went to the Irish parts store today, and a little bit more money, but we should have that in the morning, those 2 pieces. And then we went to the Napa Valley because the other thing I forgot to order was a thermostat and a thermostat gasket, and they had those in stock. And then, oh, by the way, Irish parts store had old Ford Blue. There's 2 Ford Blues, so if you go getting, you know, one of these classic jobbies like this prior to like 95 or 96 or so, somewhere in there, you had a darker, more, I guess, black or gray blue. And then this isn't a very accurate example, but the newer Ford Blue color is more like the Solo Cup Blue. It's brighter and lighter. So anyway, O'Reilly's had blue paint, so we are missing brake pieces, but we have all of our cooling system pieces. We have water pump, thermostat and gasket, upper hose, this little hose, lower hose. We have heater hose here, and we also have the correct spark plug wires. We have a distributor cap and a rotor for the engine. Okay, so we can't start on brakes. What we're going to do is we're going to strip the top half of this engine down, take the carburetor back off. I know we just got it running, but the customer would kind of like to see this cleaned up a little bit. I don't blame him. So we're going to strip the accessorize off the engine and clean it up best we can and give her a little, you know, Craigslist rebuild on the outside. While we're at it, we'll give the power steering pump reservoir a spritz. We may even pull the fan shroud away. You know, once we get this thing done, we might even pull the fan shroud away and give us just a little dab of black, just some little things to clean it up. We're gonna pull the air cleaner off. It's gonna get kind of sanded down and really painted nicely. New one of these, just cleaning it up because we're going to have fancy new power brake booster over here. This will be fancy shiny kind of new. All this will be fancy kind of shiny new, and we'll clean up even the radiator. Like I said, it's going to have a new battery by the time we're all said and done. We pressure washed all this once. You've seen that video. If not, go back and watch. But this was just to get this stuff off so we could efficiently, you know, tinker on this thing. Now we're going to clean it better so that we can put some paint on it and make it look nicer. Like I said, distributors coming out, coils coming off, carburetors coming off, power steering gets set aside, alternator gets set aside, water pumps off. Yeah, we're going to be in pretty good shape. So here we go. Let's get her stripped down. We'll wash it once or twice more, get her dried off real good, and then we'll paint the block and the accessories. And then we also have valve cover gaskets coming, so the valve covers are coming off. Air cleaner assembly valve covers will get a little bit nicer treatment. There we go. Hey. Okay, we have one issue so far that we've come up against, and that is this long stud that goes into the cylinder head and holds, you know, the power steering pump in alignment is seized. What's interesting though, it's not seized in the cylinder head. In fact, it's probably not threaded in there as far as it should be. It's seized, it appears as though it's seized within the aluminum bracket for the power steering pump. So anyway, we've got our stud extractor tool on her. We tried double nutting it and it wouldn't budge. We've already put some heat on this. Aluminum should expand easier and heat faster than steel. And we tried double nutting it and putting some heat on it and getting it to back out, and it would not budge. So we've got our stud extractor on there now. We're going to give a little test run without heat, and then we might have to put some heat to it again. It's really weird. It's seized in here and not in the block, because you can see it's actually loose. So it's not threaded into the head. Sorry, not the block, the head. It's not threaded into the head far enough, but you can't turn it out because it's seized in the power steering bracket. Weird, but we're gonna see if we can't get this out. Need to find a safe place to pry. Maybe like that there. Oh, push down. Oh. Oh. There it goes. We're getting it to turn. Awesome. It's out of the head. Yeah, it was barely in the head. Now we just got to figure out how to get it to come out of this bracket the rest of the way. What we may have to do is try going clockwise with it for a bit to see if maybe it'll pull itself out the back side. I don't even know if that's possible. Maybe we can push it through this way. It looks like it's wanting to turn in. We'll keep going here. I'll let you know. All right, we got it. So it wasn't seized in here so much as it wasn't threaded into the head, maybe 4 threads. And so when the nut got tightened down for this power steering pump, it pushed this sleeve into and over these threads. So it was seized on these threads. So actually we double nutted it here and went clockwise, righty-tighty, and pushed it back in, and now it's, now it's just happy. It wasn't seized, it was, there was just interference between the threads and that sleeve. So we've got another bolt. It's a 7/16 bolt hole in here. We're gonna chase this with a bolt, make sure there's threads good, or we'll tap it. So when we go back together, we're going to leave these double nuts on here, and when we go back together with this, we will thread this all the way into the head so we don't have that problem again. It's probably a good thing we found that, because eventually it could have cracked the head here and broke that, or the power steering pump could have fallen off going down the road. We'll get it fixed up right when we go back together. All right, day 2, working on the Bronco. We've decided we're doing water pump cooling system, cleaning the engine, and painting the engine. So you've seen the teardown for that. Unfortunately, I've been putting some stuff off around the place here. Well, one job in particular, and I got to do that. It's not super hot yet, but this time of year in the heartland is when the weeds, make that last push to grow and seed and, be a pain in the butt for America. And so, yeah, around all of our treasures, around the house, around the ditches and stuff, the weeds, and where I can't mow is just getting a little out of hand. So I got a string trim this morning, and yeah, so to put it in perspective, I've got the trimmer gassed up, full of line. If I'm lucky, I'll only go through 2 tanks of fuel, and if I'm super lucky, I won't have to refill the line. I've got about an hour and 40 minutes or so of straight string trimming to do. So I'll check in with you when I'm done. I hate this job. Well, that took about at least 3 hours longer than I wanted it to. But, yeah. Mucho bettero. In and around, and we did the rest of the house over there. You can see the Fury if you look real close, peeking from back here. Freedom 1's back behind that shed. We did all around those cars and stuff. So, yeah, and then we did some tree trimming, limb picking up, a little bit of mowing in some spots that needed it. So, just one of them afternoons where you gotta do that once in a while. The Bronco's back in here though, and attempt number A at covering this carburetor, well, covering the intake while we pressure wash, it's going to be this, a piece of wood that we can catch with some washers and suck down to the intake. And maybe we'll put like a foam pad or something in here to help seal out the water. So that's going to go on there. We're going to clean up the thermostat and the water pump gasket areas and replace on those two units. We're going to emery the dampener pulley, or the dampener, so you can see the marks and clean that up a little bit. And I'm still a little perplexed about the distributor hole. I don't know what we're going to plug that with, but let's get the top end covered. We'll get water pump and thermostat in there, and we'll be well on our way to cleaning this thing up. Hey, it's Sunday. I had kind of a lazy day, I'll admit it, but it's evening time, and you know, it's kind of warm anyway, so let's avoid the shop in the heat of the day, and you know, we'll come out and do a little bit this evening. Had to run to a neighboring town, needed a couple things. First of all, I should have started in the shop with you. I was editing video last night and going through some of the old footage, and I remembered that we noticed when we were under the Bronco the first time, the shift selector seal was leaking. So yeah, picked up one of those bad rides. $7 for something that can fit on the tip of your finger there. Could have waited till Monday and got it at the Napa Valley store for $13, so we'll take $7 any day. But that's gonna go in a video down the road when we service the transmission and drive line and that kind of stuff. But the main reason I went to the parts store today is been kind of racking my brain over, now this is ghetto, all right? Just pretend this is going to work. I think it is. It's a piece of wood bolted down on top of a carb gasket to keep water from, when we pressure wash this engine, from going into the intake. I think it's gonna work. I think it'll be fine. But we got all the little orifices, all the holes, all the openings are plugged, or either like this water pump, they face down. We put a hose extension on that vacuum line so it can't get water in it. So we got all that blocked off, except for we've got this obnoxious hole where the distributor goes, and we have to plug that. And it's down in a valley. So if you don't plug it good, you're gonna get water down into your crankcase. And I got the kind of racking my brain and thinking about stuff, and I thought, just hit my head on the hood, dang it. Hey, they make these expandable freeze plugs, 1.5 to 1 5/8. So we picked up one of those for just a couple bucks, and let's see if it'll work. Oh, look at that, you guys. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Look, all right, it like bottomed out and everything. That's outstanding. Now we just gotta get a little halfer. I had a halfer out here. Let me get a halfer and we'll tighten that baby down. There you go. I think I'm actually gonna pop this out a little bit, because I want to be able to, in the end, I don't want to have this lip here all the way down, because when we're done washing, I want to be able to get in here with air and make sure that that's completely dry before we go pulling this guy out. So we'll get her about most of the way in there. And then you just start cranking on that sucker. And I guarantee you, that's not letting liquid in, and it sure as heck isn't coming out. That is one of the smarter ideas I've had in quite a while. Additionally, get my trash out of the way here. Originally I'd left the washer bottle, coolant bottle, battery tray, some other doodads in here. I thought, you know what, if this was your Bronco, you'd want to get better access to some of this, and I'm glad we did. We've got a little scaling on where the battery tray mounts to, so we'll wash all this off. We're going to degrease everything. This will give us better access to everything, and then we're going to paint the engine, and then we'll take the valve covers off and we'll clean them up real nice, and we'll paint the valve covers that old Ford blue, and we can also address some of this other griminess on these other parts. All the brackets will get painted. We're even gonna sandblast and paint the jack handle. We're gonna do it right, because you're gonna have fancy new power brakes in here. You're gonna have a fancy new, you know, once we get to it, shiny paint job, and you want the engine to be par for the course. So I'm excited. I'm gonna get some degreaser on this yet this evening and wash this at least once tonight. So yeah, let's get the air out here. We'll blow off the loose mouse poops and stuff that also we uncovered. You don't want to leave that stuff under there. So that was the right move. And then we also took the radiator out, and we'll clean it out, blow it out, and give it, you know, a coat of paint, so everything's gonna look like really sharp when we're done. All right, the first washing was some water-based heavy-duty degreaser, organic, I think by is it CRC? And I would normally shy away from water-based stuff in a automotive environment, but you know, we gave it a try and it did pretty darn good. For first time over this pig, not bad. We got to hit here, we got to hit the intake, and that's a lovely job. And then down around this front corner, this head, the oil cinder, and then this side of this valve cover. And then we got to concentrate some more on this frame rail over here. But really, for lap number 1, not too bad. We're going to get the chemical based degreaser out now and put a can of that on here and hit it again. I didn't take long. All right, it's getting dark. Beautiful sunset, gorgeous evening. It's dropping. It's probably 69 degrees right now. Not a whisper of wind to get old glory going, but that's okay. Well, we sprayed her 2.5 times or so, 2 full cleans, and then a little touch up here and there. Yeah, I'm very pleased with how it turned out. And I think I took all the hardware off of here. This is my one major concern. I'm not concerned about the frost plug at all anymore. I'm concerned about my little redneck way of keeping water out of the intake. So I took the hardware off. I have not lifted this piece of wood at all, guys. Let's pull her up and see. We might have had just a little bit of seepage past. Let's look here. So we got a little in there, just a little dampness. No standing water, no nothing like that. So life is pretty good there. That was my one kind of significant concern about doing it this way. And we're all right. So dab around and just see how wet this rag comes out. Oh yeah, there's nothing in there, guys. We're good. Plan is tomorrow we're gonna let this kind of sit out here in the sun and bake off. We'll blow it off again first thing in the morning, and we're gonna let her sit and dry, and we'll blow it off again, and then we're gonna reevaluate. Right now what the customer is wanting is the block and accessories cleaned up, and I think that's going to look great. And right now they want valve covers off and repainted, and I think that's fine. What we may do is we might get a sticker kit for this engine. I don't know if they're too concerned about like the stampings and stuff. He knows it's a collector car, but at the same time he's gonna use it. My big question for him will be, what do you want to do over here? Because obviously we've had some old battery issues here. The battery tray we have out, we can sandblast that and paint that. That's no big deal. But you know, this fender pretty clean. This fender not so much. What I think I'm going to suggest is getting a aerosol can paint code matched, and we'll do this section on the top and this stuff down here just to keep that surface rust from growing. And just do that panel here, sorry, and just do that panel and this panel and this back bracketry down here. The goal would be, let's get this back up to a running unit, and a really good looking running unit, as soon as possible, so then we can move on to the other systems, transmission, drivetrain, brakes, all that good stuff. I think we're gonna end this one here. Maybe we'll see how long this video is, but I think we're gonna end it here. Watch for next video, or one of two next videos. We'll show you beautification and going back together. So hey, appreciate everybody watching, liking, clicking, subscribing, all that good stuff. Oh, what a nice night. Let's go have some dad pops, maybe a mixer tonight. It might be a mixer night, but hey, we'll catch you on the next one.